It's a glorious day here at Cabinet Joint. I'm Justin, and in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you how to install a wall spice pullout. Now, these come in two different sizes. There's a 5-inch unit, and then this here is the 8-inch unit. The installation process is gonna be the same. This install process is pretty straightforward. It comes with instructions, but they're pretty basic, pretty watered down. They weren't all that helpful, so this video should get you there. Clamps will be pretty essential for this process because you're gonna be clamping it inside the box and then installing screws from underneath the cabinet. With all that being said, let's get into the tools that you're gonna need for this project. So the tools you will need is your standard drill and driver. I have a number 2 Phillips head as well as a self-centering bit. I have a 3/8 ratchet. You can use a 3/8 wrench as well. I have a Phillips head screwdriver, some painter's tape, a combo square, tape measure, pencil. I have a 3/32 spacer. You don't have to have the specific one. You can cut yourself just a 3/32 piece of wood. And then I have clamps. I have one, it needs to be over 30 inches to be able to clamp this, which you'll see later on. And then I have 2 smaller clamps here, it can be any size, to clamp the door to the pullout itself. And other than that, I have these bumpers that came with the pullout. As you can see, I already have it installed here. It will come with screws to attach your door to your pullout, as well as to install it via the bottom of the cabinet. Those screws all come included with the pullout. And then this cabinet here has a shelf as well. You can talk to your cabinet coach, you can get that if you want this particular layout. With all that being said, we are ready to get into the installation. If you have an overlay application, you can install these white bumpers. Unfortunately for inlay, they do not fit because they would be in the way of your door. We started this installation off by finding the center of the opening. Once we made that mark, we took our combo square and extended that line into the interior of the cabinet. Then we went to our pullout and we found the front and then measured to the center of that and made a mark. Then we stuck it inside the cabinet, we lined up those center marks, and then instead of trying to measure and figure all of that out, I just took the door and I gently pushed back the pullout until the door sits a little bit more recessed. You don't want it quite flush because with the adjustment, you're able to push the door out, but you're never able to take it back in. So I like to set it in about a 1/16 to an 1/8 recessed inside. After I had the door where I wanted it, I took it off, just made sure everything was still lined up with the center. And then I took my clamp and I clamped the top of the pullout down all the way to the bottom of the cabinet. And I took my cabinet over the edge of my table and then put 2 screws in from underneath. Once those 2 screws were in, I tilted the cabinet back and put the other 2 screws underneath. Tilting it back up, I made sure that everything slid correctly as it was supposed to. And now I'm ready to install the door. So I need to first loosen the metal brackets then on this pullout. Using a 3/8 ratchet, I just loosen those up, and then as you can see, those are loose and they adjust sideways. Once those are all loosened up and are out from the center of the pullout, I can install the door. If you have an overlay cabinet, they will extend further, and if you have an inset cabinet, they will not go past the opening at all. What I ended up doing is I measured the distance from the top of the pullout to the bottom of the top rail, and that measurement was 11 inches. This is where that 3/32 spacer comes in handy. I just put that spacer at the top of my door, hooked my tape measure on that, and measured down and marked 11 inches on both sides. You don't have to do it this way, but just having a 3/32 spacer, I didn't need to worry about doing any addition or subtraction. I could just mark exactly where it was. Because this pullout doesn't have any vertical adjustment, you really need to make sure that this measurement is on point. Now, you have to do a little Houdini act as you install the door because you're not able to take the pullout out. So what I did was I lined up those measurements and I took my small clamps. Once I had the top lined up, I had the door shifted all the way over to one side and then clamped it in place vertically, lining my door up vertically. And then I took my door all the way to the one side of the pullout. With those extended, you can install your door onto the pullout. Make sure you line everything up vertically with those marks that you just made. I had my door all the way to the right first. With it extended all the way to the one side, I clamped the door in place. I took my self-centering bit and screwed on those metal brackets onto the door. Then I took those clamps off, shifted it all the way to the other side, and did the exact same thing. It's a really tight fit with your drill because this pullout doesn't extend all that far out. So just be careful that you're not marking up your cabinet or anything like that. I did the exact same step here on the other side with drilling and screwing. And now my door is fastened. I'm gonna sit it in, make sure everything looks correct. Vertically, it looks right, but I need to adjust it side by side. So how I do that is before I tighten any of those nuts on the back of the front of the pullout, I have that left to right adjustability. Now, if you look, my corner is in far too much. So in order to bump that out, there is a Phillips head screw inside right next to your bolt. When you tighten that screw, it will push the door out. When you loosen that screw and tighten the nut, it will also then pull it closer. So in this case, I want to push it out, so I am tightening that screw as well as making sure that nut is loose enough to where I can extend that corner of the door out. And I have the opposite problem on my top left corner. I needed to pull it further in, so all I did was loosen up that screw all the way and then tighten that nut as far as it would go. With that shelf installed, all the components are in. It's something to keep in mind. This is not a soft close mechanism, but it does have enough resistance to where it's really hard to slam that shut. With the pullout maxing out at 26¼ inches, that means if you have a taller cabinet, there's gonna be room. If you would like, there's also the option to put 2 more railings on the very top of your pullout if you want some added spice organization. As far as installs go, this is a pretty easy installation. Keep in mind that there is no vertical adjustment on these slides, so make sure you nail those measurements as you are putting that door on. Other than that, the other thing to keep in mind is that these come in fixed sizes. We can't widen them, we can't make them any taller. They are fixed at the size both 5 and 8 inch, as well as 26¼ inches tall. I hope this video was helpful as you install your wall spice pullout. If you have any questions, you can reach out to your cabinet coach, or you can call us at 888-211-6482. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.